What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. We've got new Vendread cards here. 2 of them you already might know. 3 are brand new from Konami Europe. But first, there's some changes to my layout, and I think it's very important to be transparent. This new code that will get you 5% off at Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles. From now on, code HOCWGYT5. What's good, YouTube 5? It will directly support my channel and Robbie Cole's channel. It goes to helping out both channels whenever you guys spend money at Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles. It's not going to change my content, and they ask for no changes in my content, but I will probably feature their sales a little bit more, like how they had Alternative on sale way back when, and I suggested it to you guys. I'll be doing sales that I think are more interesting, and then going over their sneak peeks as usual because they dominate that market. Also, 4/29 New Zealand midnight will be when their pre-sales go live for Flood, so you can use this code there as well. We're also missing the sponsor up top now. NLG and us parted ways in good fashion, good terms, nothing bad. I know I have a lot of fans from NLG, and especially in the live streams, it's nothing bad, nothing wrong. Like, they've been nothing but great to us, so I wish them the best of luck as well. But let's go ahead and get into these brand new Vendread cards. That's why you guys are here, right? Right, not the look at the sneak peek times. We've got Vendread Executioner, a 3000/0 level 8 Dark Ritual Zombie effect monster. And this is the only one I've read besides the other 2 that we already know. I'm kind of torn on him. He's alright, but he's not what they needed. You can ritual summon this card with any Vendread ritual spell. This card's name becomes Vendread Slayer while on the field. That's a nice little bonus that I did like. While this ritual summon card is on the field, your opponent cannot target cards you control with card effects except for this card. So basically, he locks them out of being able to use back row destruction, period, which could be good with some floodgates. It could go well with the deck, but like, I really think it should have been not target cards, period, for this to be an actual boss monster. Being able to target him, True Dracos can distribute one of the trap cards. You can just pop him at any point and then continue off. I don't really know that this is what they needed, but I like the magnet effect. I just wish it protected him as well. It's self-sacrificing spawn guy, am I right? If this ritual summon card is destroyed by battle or destroyed by an opponent's card effect while in its owner's monster zone, so not by that new ritual spell, you can add 1 Vendread card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Vendread Executioner once per turn. So that second effect does give it a little bit of resource gain, but it has to be taken care of by an opponent. It's 3,000, and if they're clearing that, they're probably going to game. It doesn't really bring it to the field or anything. It takes it to your hand, so it doesn't give a resource to the field, which is what Vendread so desperately need. Like, being able to put things on the field, graveyard, and then resource it again. I would have liked to see that instead of having to waste more normal summons from what you're searching to your hand. At least it's any Vendread card, but it's still relying on your opponent. And your opponent's usually going to have to take care of this in some way, shape, or form, but I don't know, guys. If a Vendread did something from the hand, maybe. Let's see what else they got. Anima, we already saw, and Evolution. We'll go back over those in a second. Vendread Nightmare, a continuous spell. Alright, alright. Once per turn, you contribute 1 or more Vendread monsters from your hand and or field. Then target 1 face-up monster you control. Increase its level by the number of monsters tributed until the end of the turn. Interesting. So it's a level modulator that gets them... you contribute from the hand, so I guess there are things that'll get advantage. I think like the level 2, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if tribute will work with it. I'd have to read it again. When you're attacking Vendread Ritual Monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can have your monster gain 1,000 attack. You can only use this effect once per turn. That's Vendread Disappointment. Definitely not a resource that you need or anything that this deck needed at all. Vendread Daybreak. Ooh, he's a zombie in the light, looks like. Vendread Daybreak trap card. If your opponent controls more cards than you do, choose 1 ritual summoned Vendread monster you control and destroy all cards on the field except the chosen monster. Alright, this is something that's really good for them. It cannot attack directly while it remains face up on the field. You can only activate 1 Daybreak per turn. The cost, okay, so you're spending all your resources on the card and it can no longer attack directly. That's a little unfortunate, but I guess if you're using the new ritual spell, it's going to be leaving the field anyways. Let's think about the uses here. You're already depleting your resources, so you should have less cards overall, but it's controls. So it really is, it's an on-demand, like, in a sense, non-banishing evenly matched is how I'd compare it, but not at all, really. You need to control a ritual summoned Vendread. I like this card. I'm just thinking of how actually practical it is, and it's protected by the new Vendread ritual in your back row unless they, like, hey, Trunate it or something. I like this card. I think it's pretty good. This is something they could have used. Again, I felt like they needed more of a resource game. If you haven't read the ritual here, and you were waiting for a video with everything, it's basically, in a sense, like Shaddoll Fusion in the fact that you can use a monster from your deck without even needing your opponent to have anything. This is really what the deck needed, and I don't know that it's enough. This card can be used to ritual summon any Vendread ritual monster from your hand or graveyard. That's nice. You can use either resource. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field, and or send one Vendread ritual monster from your deck to the graveyard. So you get to choose in addition, so you can stack your levels just right, send a resource to the graveyard, and continue on. That's pretty nice. Whose total levels equal the level of the ritual monster you ritual summon. So unlike the other Vendread ritual, you need to hit a amount of levels that is exact. You don't really get a choice to go overboard. The ritual summon monster is destroyed during the end phase of your next turn. You can only activate one Vendread evolution per turn. So right now, these are the resources of the deck. I think this is the final set, if I'm not mistaken. Tell me if I'm wrong below, but I'm pretty sure this is the final set for Vendreads, if I'm not mistaken. Vendread Anima, a level 1 dark zombie effect monster, attack 0, defense 0. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one of your banished Vendread monsters except Vendread Anima. Special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except zombie monsters. So it's the rest of the turn, which fits very well in the deck, especially considering you can send it from the deck for free with free Vendread evolution. It was brought to my attention that I believe Chimera is a level 5 already, so you could, like, do Chimera from your hand, this to the grave. But do remember that in order to summon a ritual, it has to have properly been summoned before if it's been banished. A Vendread monster ritual summoned using this card also gains the following effect. You can only use each of the preceding effects once per turn. Banish any monster destroyed by battle with this card. That's also a decent effect to add, but it's not like I think you're trying to get this to the field or focus too hard on it. But I definitely like it a lot more once we got this ritual spell announced. It made a lot more sense once it did. My overall thoughts here, though, is it really did need something like Shaddoll Beast to bring this deck together. It really needed, like, a level 5 that could do some crazy stuff from perhaps the graveyard, or if you committed to the field, give a really good effect. And, or, like, when it's sent to the graveyard from the deck, maybe it special summoned itself. I really wanted to see that once we saw Anima and the ritual spell, and we didn't really get it. Executor isn't what it needed as a ritual. It doesn't really float when destroyed since it has to be an opponent's effect. That's a little disappointing. Seeing that they released both these cards at once, you would have think they would have made them to work together overall. Because this does destroy during the end phase of the next turn. People were like, oh man, the rituals kind of float. That's pretty good with them. Well, the new one doesn't seem to float. You would think they would have put those two together, but maybe they considered the 8 too powerful. It seems like a, how do you say, fair and balanced decks don't do well in this day and age. This is pretty fair and balanced, but it looks like, I feel like it's going to be stuck on table 500. It had a lot of potential. The zombie archetype's very powerful. Maybe they just didn't want to give zombies too much power, but why even start into it if that's the decision? They're really cool cards based off Spawn, Resident Evil, and I really liked the archetype on a release, and it's got a lot of good tools. 3 of these cards are not bad, but they're just like average deck tools, it feels like. Like, this trap does combo well with and synergize with Executor, but Executor just doesn't really synergize with a new card other than, I guess you could send different combinations of level and it would work with almost anything from your hand throughout. Like, that's the best it's got going for it synergy-wise with it. It has the most flexibility on levels with evolution. That's all. Its level matters the most out of anything. What do you guys think? Am I being overcritical? Do you like Executor? I think Anima, Evolution, and Daybreak were welcome additions to the archetype, and nightmare is Vendread disappointment for sure. But I'm definitely excited. And like I said, down below, the pre-sales and the code both go live on midnight New Zealand time of 4/29. I'm not sure when that is central off the top of my head, so you'll have to look that up yourselves, or I'll try to get it in the comment section down below. But definitely, it's cool to see direct support for the channel. Hashtag sellout. But it is really nice to, like, we worked with that company, like, even before they sponsored us in terms of saying, hey, look at this. These guys are legit the lowest. You might want to go over here. And it evolved all the way to the point of them directly supporting the channel. So, again, pre-sales go up that day. Thank you for watching, and thanks for supporting the channel, guys.